Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is, wherever you are. This is Nathan Paul with Deer Blinds and Fishing Lines, and today I've just finished setting up camp here. We're gonna go out, gonna see if we can't get ourselves on an elk. It's either sex, bull or cow. We're gonna do what we can. We're gonna see if we can't get it done. When we get back, I'll give you a good tour of camp, and we'll go from there. Off. We've got about a 3-hour sit before dark, and I'm going to turn them back on once we start seeing some movement. in the center of wildlife lands. And not long after I got here, I noticed there was a coyote on the other side of the field. Well, that coyote just took off, as you can see. And I'll show you why. So after a long hike in, I'm sitting here on the outskirts of an old field that's in the center of wildlife lands. And not long after I got here, I noticed there was a coyote on the other side of the field. That coyote just took off, as you can see. And I'll show you why. In the blind. An hour before light, I bugled him in. He's down. 7 days. 7 days. And I got it done. It was a long hunt. I have sat here in my blind from 10 a.m. It is now 6:20, and I gave one short little bugle just to see if anything called back. Didn't even get a chance to get my camera on when this guy came in on a line. It was like straight into me, and he was looking around. Gave me plenty of time, get the camera on, get everything going, line up, finished it off. Thankful for the hunt. I'm thankful I get to go home and spend some time with my kids. I've been gone for a week. It's a beautiful country. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. Right now I'm on an oat field that's in the middle of wildlife lands, and I couldn't be happier. I got my bull, I'm going home. We'll see you in the kitchen. All right, so my elk is finally back from the butcher. I'm gonna make lunch for the wife, Kids are at school. Well, son's at school, daughter's sleeping. She's not feeling too well. So she went out for some shopping with her sister, so I'm gonna have a nice lunch ready for her when she gets home. Honestly, quick, easy, and by far one of my favorite camp meals I'm gonna make today is ground elk, or whatever ground meat you have, a little bit of mushroom soup, mushrooms, some spices, a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, and some egg noodles. It's kind of like a cheap, quick, and easy stroganoff, but it's hearty, it's filling, and it's just literally one of my favorite things to have. So here we go. Before I forget, that elk hunt was absolutely something else. So I sat in the blind from 9 a.m. after my morning sit all the way through until 6:15 when this guy stepped out. Every once in a while I'd let out a small little bugle because someone had told me that he was, or that there was a couple of smaller elk in there and it was my last day to hunt. So I didn't want to let off a big loud challenge or anything like that and scare out anything out of the zone. So I'm sitting down there in this oat field. I've been watching these bears and yotes all day thinking nothing's coming in. So half an hour, 45 minutes from where it was starting to get dark, I let out just a nice light little and didn't even get a chance to turn on the camera before this guy came in on a line straight to me. It was absolutely insane to watch. It's my first bull elk, and it was just an absolute blast. I couldn't have wished for a better ending to a 7-day elk hunt. So let's get cooking. Doesn't get any better than that. Clean, lean, healthy, organic meat, fresh from the field to my fork. I can't wait. Seasonings are gonna be quick and simple. A little bit of seasoning salt, a little bit of garlic powder, and we're gonna let that start cooking. Now I'm gonna chop up some mushrooms. This will be done like, just like that. So we've got them all caught up. We're gonna get them into the elk once it's about halfway done browning, and then we'll see you in a minute. All right, so while I wait for the water to boil for the egg noodles, one of the biggest things that I can recommend with this meal, my son, it's a fight to get him to eat vegetables. So with something like this, I take in a big fistful of chopped kale, chopped spinach, whatever I have in the freezer, and it mixes in so well with next to no taste difference that he'll eat it and not know the difference. Like for example, I have a meal that I make with ground beef, diced tomatoes, and a bunch of other vegetables that I kind of chop up really thin and small like that. And I call it superhero food with elbow macaroni, and he goes to town on it. So definitely got to find ways to sneak in vegetables past my kids. But you know what? Comes with being a parent, right? Now, this might seem weird, it might seem outside the norm, but it really doesn't get better than this. You mix this in, don't add any liquid. There's enough in there for when you're cooking the meat. Stir it all together. Let it cook down a little bit. Reheat. Add in a couple splashes of Worcestershire sauce. Stir it all together. And just let it sit and reach temperature. And then I'll be back once the egg noodles are done. The bag ripped, so it wasn't as majestic as it should have been. Let those cook, and it's time to eat. Don't pour your egg noodles in one-handed. You end up making a mess. Oops. So, then we mix it all together. Let it cool for a minute. And we plate it and serve. My wife's not back yet, so I'm just gonna have a really, really small bowl of it to give it a try. And then I'll have some lunch with her when she gets home. Should be a good. Yeah, an extra scoop because, yeah. All right, so I'm gonna have a quick snack before the wife gets home. I don't even need to savor it and taste it and anything like that. I know this is absolutely fantastic. It is one of my favorite meals while we're out at hunting camp. When I'm at home and I want a quick snack, or just really anytime, you can't go wrong with it. Quick, easy, in my opinion, way better than Hamburger Helper. I'm gonna finish this up. Don't forget, like, subscribe, follow. It'd be great to have you along for the ride. We've got lots of hunts left to go. Mule deer's coming up next week. Then I have whitetail doe, whitetail buck, and another whitetail doe tag. Before I hear any comments on the comic board, doe management is just as important as buck management. It's a part of conservation. Just like I hunt bear, there's no difference to it. So we'll see you next time.